Well, hey everyone, it's good to be back and to see so many familiar faces and new faces. It's exciting to see this community grow and to see how many people are jumping on board. So today, we are going to show the HSPC Sandbox. All right, there we go. So just real quickly about HSPC, our goal is to create an open, vibrant ecosystem of interoperable applications, platforms, and so FHIR, Smart on FHIR, fits really nicely into that. And as a result, we've created a program called the HSPC Developers Program. The first thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is that this is totally free and open to the community. Everything that we're developing is open source, and it's because of the members' contributions that make that possible. So we invite you to participate and to benefit from it, and even if you can find something that you want to contribute back, to contribute back. It's really broken down into three different pillars. We have the developers portal, the sandbox, and the gallery. And the developers portal is really designed to help you get started on this journey of building health applications. And you'll find there everything from SDKs and libraries, tutorials and samples, as well as some documentation to get you started on your journey of building a Smart on FHIR application or service, or CDS hook or CQF for that matter. So we're going to spend, I'm trying to get through this one quickly because we have a lot to show you today. The HSPC Sandbox, you've seen us present it before, but we've totally revamped the user interface, and we've been adding some really cool features that I want to show you. But before we go there, let me just say that at the end of the day, what the HSPC Sandbox is it's a way for you to create your own Smart on FHIR platform in the cloud in a few clicks, and we're going to show that, and to be able to invite a team to be with you. We eat our own dog food as well, so Interopion, we build a lot of Smart on FHIR applications ourselves. In fact, we built the very first ones. And so we use this HSPC Sandbox to demonstrate and to build and test our applications. When we're sitting in front of customers, we are using the HSPC Sandbox as a way to show the application in context and to make it and help people see what it will look like if we're running in various EHR environments. So with that said, let's go ahead and do the demo. Nikolai is going to do the clicking around for me because I can't type in things and talk at the same time. I'm not that coordinated. The first thing is like I said, this is free. You can get it by going to sandbox.hspconsortium.org. We have, what we're going to show you is our new beta sandbox. So we're not ready to make it our primary sandbox just yet, but we're getting close. We're probably about 4 weeks away from working through some of the issues that we've been identifying from the early use. So the way you'd find that is through sandbox-beta.hspconsortium.org. So that's where we're here right now. You can create an account using your Google login, or you can just log in, creating your own email address. The very first screen that you see right here is your list of sandboxes that's available to you. And this is an important point, is that you can have any number of sandboxes. So sometimes you want to have like a production, or a demo environment that you're working on, and maybe you have a test version or a development version that you want to segregate. For us, we create different sandboxes for different customers. And so when we're working on an application, we'll create a customer specific. And then sometimes we'll even create one for our own development and another one for when we're doing user acceptance testing or demoing. So Nikolai is going through the process right now of creating a new sandbox. So you can see that you've got options from which version of FHIR. We support DSU2, SU3, and R4, at least the early versions of R4. And you can choose whether or not you're going to enforce Smart on FHIR security, or if you want to have it just be an open FHIR server that you can just hit without going through the authorization flow. And then here, hopefully, this will just spin for about 10 to 30 seconds. And what it's doing right now is it's creating your very own Smart on FHIR platform in the cloud that you can address and go on and start registering applications. Right off the bat, we have a couple of existing applications that are there just to get you started. The bilirubin risk chart, which you've probably seen before, is just there to give you an idea of how you would register it. But Nikolai is going to go ahead and show you right now what it would be like to create and register your own app. So we're following the SMART specification here. So you just come in here, provide a name, choose the type of client that it is, your scopes and launch context. We'll do the launch context here in a minute. The other cool thing that we're not going to have the time to do as part of a demo is that when you launch your application, you can tell it to prefetch a list of patients you want to pick from. So if you have demo patients that you want to make it really easy to launch your application against, that you've built up an interesting data set for, there you would just put the patient identifiers in there, and our Sandbox will then preload that for you. We'll show that here in a second. So in any case, here you would use this client ID to put into your own application. You'd relaunch your application. Since we only have 15 minutes, we're not going to show that, but you would restart your system, and then you'd be able to launch your application. So it's that simple. We're going to skip over to a Interopion, our company's demo environment that we use to show some of our own tools out of, because it's got a lot more interesting stuff in there. So while we're on the registered apps, let's show them the CVD risk calculator, how you would launch it. So when this launches, you can see that the list of patients has been consolidated down just to the ones that we feel like have interesting data, so that when we launch this, we can launch this application. And it's going through a full Smart on FHIR authorization flow at this point. And now our application has been launched. We launched it without with the patient banner flag turned on, so we know we can do that. And then here's one of our applications that we've built, the CVD risk calculator, ASCVD risk calculator. All right, let's go back. So over here, let's take a look at launch scenarios. So launch scenarios is a concept that we created to try and help your edge testing. This kind of came from the idea we were helping the University of Utah turn on their pediatric growth chart. Their pediatricians and neonatologists wanted to be able to test certain criteria. They wanted different things. They wanted to know when they had a failure to thrive scenario, or their child was large for gestational age. And these are edge cases. So what a launch scenario allows you to do is to build that context up with selecting who the patient is, who the provider is, what their provider role is, and then any other of the smart context that you can pass in. So you can see that list is right there. In fact, we'll show you real quickly how to create a launch scenario. So the first step in a launch scenario is, what application are you going to launch? And then at this point, we need to decide who is the person using this app. Is it a patient-facing application? Is it a caregiver? Or is it a practitioner? And in this case, we're going to say it's a practitioner. And we'll pick one of our personas. We'll talk about personas here in a second. But we'll pick the persona of this particular. It's small enough I can't remain. Was it Dr. Giles?
Giles.
All right, Dr. Giles. And then now we get to pick, is this a population-based application, or is this a single patient? If it's a single patient, let's pick that patient right now. So we can search for the patients using our patient picker, or if we happen to know the patient identifier, we can just type it in by hand. But here we'll just select Carol Allen. And then here's another interesting thing that I wanted you to see, is that we didn't previously support all of the context parameters from the Smart spec, but they're now all supported. So if you're trying to make your application be responsive to the EHR's CSS and style guide, or if you're passing in or prefetching some advice or other things, you can put all of that in here now. All right, and so then it just gives you a place to review what the context was, and then you can save it. So if your Sandbox grows to the complexity that ours has, one of the things that we struggled with was finding the launch scenarios that we're looking for, because it turns into a big list. So we've built some filtering capabilities here where we can say, hey, I just want to see practitioner-facing launch scenarios for the CVD risk calculator. So then on the type over there, we'll go back over there real quick. Yeah, then so you can choose that, and then you can choose the type being practitioner. And now I have found the launch scenario that I'm interested in, and then you can use these buttons over here. I think Nikolai just did it, but go ahead and launch it again with that one click. With that one click now, you can execute that launch scenario. So why is this useful? This is useful because if you're trying to, like if we take that use case I just had before where we're trying to find out if the application is rendering for that particular edge case, in this case large for gestational age, we want a clinician or our user expert to be able to come in and do that. This isn't really something that the engineers are going to be able to answer. And so we've made this really simple so they can go find it. You can name it how you want. We use JIRA, so a lot of times we'll put our JIRA identifiers in these launch scenarios, and then the clinician can just go in here and just with a click of the button, open it up, and they can check it out and see if it's doing what they expected it to. All right, so that's launch scenarios, and they're pretty powerful, and there's a lot that we didn't cover that you should take a look at. Personas is a way for you to replicate what you would see in a real EHR environment. On one hand, you've got the records, and then on the other hand, you've got your user accounts, and you need to tie them together. So from a practitioner perspective, how do I tie the practitioner FHIR resource to an actual user account? And the reason why this is important is that the Sandbox supports standalone launch. So if you're building a mobile application that wasn't going to be launched using a launch scenario and replicating what you'd be doing inside of an EHR, you could use these personas to log in using your username and password that you create here. So we have patient and practitioner personas that you can create. And then obviously with the patients, let's just show real quickly some of the details that will render about the patient to make it easier for you to browse and find the patients. Go on the age. I like that a lot. We created an age filter that allows you to say, okay, if we do a lot of pediatric applications, we'll show those tomorrow. But if we want to find pediatric patients between the ages of 8 and 11 years old that are female, we can really quickly do that with these filters now. And then we still have the patient data manager, which we're not going to show right now, but a way for you to build and create a series of data. And then we're going to skip ahead all the way to, so data manager, actually let's do one quick query, because I know we're running out of time, but I want you to see some of the work that we've done here. So if we look at the JSON version of that, we can look at the data that's there, execute FHIR queries right from the Sandbox. And then the next thing I want to show you is in the settings. This is a really important point. We will have, if we click on the Users tab, you can see that in our Interopion demo Sandbox, we have a lot of users using this. And so you can invite any number of people to join you in your Sandbox to use it. And those invites get sent there, and then you can see that they get shown right here, and Nikolai could accept that. I sent him an invite to a Sandbox earlier today, so welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So that is the mad dash version of the HSPC Sandbox. It's free to use. It's open source too. So if you want to run it, some institutions have pulled it and run it inside, or you can just let HSPC host it for you. We host it in the cloud. It's just a few clicks away from you being able to use it. This is in beta mode. We'll be there. We'll be back in production mode, I think probably in 4 weeks. The original HSPC Sandbox is still there and functioning. Let's go back to the slides real quick. I want to just talk about a few more things in our last 2 minutes that we've got. All right, thank you, Nikolai. There's no way I could have done all of that on my own. All right, we're growing. We have 1,700, actually I think it's over 1,800 Sandboxes now. Users, and we have over 1,000 unique Sandboxes now. We were really proud of having won this before and being recognized for the value that it's adding to the community. And you can see that we have an active number of people joining every month. So it's a good, big, growing community that I think people are finding value. We want you to use it as well. And the other thing that we have is the HSPC Gallery. So we have our development portal to kind of help you get started with tutorials, guides, documentation. We have our Sandbox, which is an environment where you actually can build and run and simulate what your application will look like and be used in a production environment, in an EHR or a Smart on FHIR type environment. And then we have the gallery. If you want to have a place where you can put it up there for people to come look at it, we've got that as well. HSPC is a consortium, and so if you'd like to get involved, we are always looking for people to come and join us. And that's it. No time for questions. Thank you.